I'm from Chicago. I started at the University of Iowa. I went there for 2 years, wanting to originally double major in computer science and film because I thought I needed a backup plan. Then I got there and realized I only wanted to do film, and this was not the right place for production. But I wasn't able to transfer for ultimately turned into 2 years. And so while I was there, I kind of stumbled into a creative writing class that they had. And I'd always kind of written on the side, but never as anything, never anything I really took seriously. I only ever wrote so I would have material that I could direct. When I started taking these creative writing classes, it was something I really enjoyed, and figured out that actually Iowa had like one of the top writing programs in the country. It's the Iowa Writers Workshop. I wasn't in the workshop because that's statistically like harder to get into than Harvard, but I was taking classes with members of the workshop because they were all grad students, and I was like 19. So that's really where I started kind of to take writing a bit more seriously, and I ended up transferring to Chapman University in Orange County, where my emphasis was in directing in the film program. But I also had a big background in post-production, and I worked as an editor and a post-supervisor, sound designer, and everything else. And so when I decided to make my senior thesis film, because of my post-background, I knew that I could pull together a lot of visual effects elements, and I could also put something together at a pretty high production value that would not be indicative of how little money we had to make it. So I started thinking about what kind of concepts and what kind of worlds would be fun to explore, and also serve as a calling card for me. And I had this idea a few years earlier that I actually used as a writing sample to get into film school, and it was called The League. It was about a superhero labor union in 1960 Chicago. And so I wrote it with one of my best friends, Alex Siegel, and I made it, I directed it, and I put it online. And one of my other friends who had designed all the characters, I had hired him originally, named Eric White. He sent out a big email to everyone he knew in comics and film saying, this thing's really cool, you guys should check it out. And one of the first emails I got back was from Joe Quesada, who was the editor-in-chief at that time of Marvel. And Joe happened to watch the film. It was like 27 minutes long, and really liked it, and asked if basically the conversation between us went back and forth, and he asked if I'd be interested in pitching to Marvel. And so I pitched for about 10 months to Tom Brevoort, and then landed a Captain America one-shot with that Alec and I co-wrote. And then from there, we just started, I kind of started to parlay that into other work, and ultimately ended up in DC, writing Batman books, Gates of Gotham, and then Nightwing and Deathstroke, and some other things. And so now, coming full circle, we just announced a couple weeks ago at Image Expo, my first creator-owned book. Alec and I are co-writing it, and it's called C.O.W.L, which stands for the Chicago Organized Workers League. And it is inspired by the film that really got things going for us. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at now.